Guys, so this is what if Bell was like Batman. Basically, this is a what if I was working on for about like a week or so, and basically, this is I think my second Bell what if I've made, and basically, this is a Bell what if that I've been working on for let's say not a long time, but for about a week or so. And basically, let's get into the video. Now, basically, originally this was gonna be what if Deku was, it was trained like what if Bell was trained like Batman, but what if Bell was like Batman? And let's just get into the video. Now, basically, we would get switched to pretty much Bell's childhood before he would go to pretty much we start our story off before he went to I guess Estria or pretty much the city. And basically, as we get switched to pretty much a town or I guess a kingdom where pretty much Deku will be born at. Deku will be born into a rich family, actually. Basically, him being born into a type of, I guess, rich family called the Waynes. Or no, it was called the Cornells. The Wayne Cornells. Basically, what would happen is pretty much, Deku I just got done with the Deku what if. Basically, what happened is Bell would have been born into this rich type of family. Basically, him living this life for a couple years. Basically, him being about 5 when the tragedy would have struck. When he would become like Batman and where his life would take a spiral down. Now, basically, what happened is since Deck would be born into a rich family, he would have loving parents. He wouldn't be treated like a rich, spoiled brat, just like Bruce Wayne would not be treated like a rich, spoiled brat. Basically, be treated to respect others and to be a kind man. Now, basically, what happened doing this, Bell would have started to, train himself over the event of his mother and father's death. That basically what happened doing his mother and father's death. It would be similar like the Batman, but what happened is we assassination attempt actually, because his father and mother were planning on reuniting the familias and also trying to make the world a better place, trying to stop people from dying, and just trying to do something that would jeopardize the other more crueler parts of the Familia, and trying to jeopardize pretty much other goddesses and gods' legacies, and pretty much looks multiple gods hiring this assassin to kill Thomas Wayne and Martha Wayne, Thomas Wayne Cornell and Martha Wayne Cornell. Basically, them being killed. Basically, what happened is pretty much Deku would have spent the rest of his couple years being heartbroken and being bitter and hating the world for what happened to him and his family. Basically, this hurting him more than ever. Basically, what happened is Deku would have started to train his body and trying to overcome this rage and anger he got. Basically, him training his body and treating it like a temple. Him making his body like a temple. And basically, he would train himself like Bruce Wayne. Basically, him going to different lands and areas, training himself at the best peak he could. Basically, him becoming similar to the body he had near the end of, I guess, season 3 or season 2 of What Is It So Wrong to Pick Up Girls in the Dungeon. Basically, what happened is Bell would have trained his body, him having a lot more muscles, but him being about the same size he was in canon. Now, basically, Deku would have been a lot more stronger, faster, intelligent. Bell, sorry guys, oh my god, Bell would have been a lot more stronger, faster, and intelligent. And basically, what happened is Bell would have trained himself just like Batman, actually. Him doing a bunch of pretty much training to control his pretty much mind, soul, and spirit. Him going to this universe's League of Shadows and training there, being trained exactly just like Batman. But him not having the experience of Batman, since he would lead the League of Shadows at the age of, I think, 15 or 16, where he would originally go to pretty much Estria, or go to pretty much, well, the city, the capital, where pretty much Lady Estia would have been there. And basically, what happened is pretty much the video cut out. Basically, Belle would have gone to, well, the capital where Estia would be at. Basically, him looking for a familiar. Now, pretty much, the League of Shadows would have been a familiar, but not to a normal, I guess, god. Being more of a obscured god, this god being Razal Ghul. Basically, this god, Razal Ghul, he would have mainly been focused to train his familia to be gods, even train other outsiders, not letting them in the familia, but training them so he could, well, spread his name as Ra's al Ghul, the demon's head. Basically, what would happen is pretty much Deku would have been trained similar to Batman, like I said earlier, and he would have left the League of Shadows after you find out the deep, dark truth that this god was killing people and becoming, or trying to rule the world, trying to become its one and only master and try to overthrow Zeus and kill every other goddess or god and send them back to heaven. Him controlling Earth as he wishes. And basically what happened is pretty much Deku would have not liked this. Belle would have not liked this, and he would try to fight back against Ra's al Ghul. Eventually, he would have left the League of Shadows, and basically would have gone into hiding. Eventually, him going to pretty much the capital where Estia would be, him looking for a familia that's under the wraps, but also a familia that he would, enjoy being in. As it would go, we said pretty much Belle would have gone to pretty much the capital where Estia would be at. Him going around asking familiars to be a part of. Now they would also look at Deku, Belle not really seeing much of anything, since Belle would have not really, his muscle mass wouldn't be going through his outfit, since it wouldn't be that big, but he would have a lot more muscles to his body. He would be a lot more better in fighting, training, and just tactical powers in general. And what would happen is pretty much Deku would have, and Belle would have been training his mind, basically, weeks upon weeks. Him eventually coming across a goddess that would allow, or pretty much let Belle into the familia. Her slowly falling in love with Belle as well. Now Belle would have also took this chance and what became her, or part of her familia as well. Basically, them pretty much, well, Belle would have joined Lady Estia's familia, and bada bing bada boom, pretty much the rest of the anime would have gone not similar, but near the same path. Now, basically, what happened is pretty much Belle would have made himself, or would have made his way to pretty much, would have made his way to, well, Lady Estia's familia, and that would be a couple years later, and pretty much Belle would have been ranking up powers and abilities and magic skills from pretty much Lady Estia's familia, including his already existing training. He would have been able to pretty much, well, hide. Now, basically, he wouldn't hide all of it, since he wouldn't have been able to hide all of the years of training he had. But basically, pretty much, she would have known that Deku would be training a lot, and Deku would have told her the story of him in the League of Shadows. But him not showing her or telling her that he was trained to pretty much kill a man in a matter of under about, well, 10 seconds. And basically what happened is pretty much, well, sorry guys, I'm in my front lawn. Basically what happened is pretty much, well, Deku from that point, Belle from that point, he would have pretty much spent the rest of the couple of months or years with pretty much Lady Estia. And basically, over the years, eventually, the canon time where, the anime would take place would happen. And basically, what happened is pretty much Belle would start to train more on his body, just train in physical and muscle mass in general. Him not becoming too big, but him gaining more muscles and defining his body a little bit better. Now, basically, what would happen is Deku would have had a type of Nightwing bod. Belle would have had a type of Nightwing bod, kind of like Batman from Year One. Basically, kind of a, I guess, Nightwing or Dick Grayson type bod. And basically, what happened is pretty much Deku sorry, Bell. What would happen basically doing this, during the years, basically Bell would have gone to the pretty much dungeons a lot of times. Basically, him having the same outfit as Canon, but him wearing kind of an all black version of it. Basically, the brown in his outfit being all black, or a darkish type of, or a dark type of gunmetal gray instead of brown on his shirt or his outfit. Him having a type of dark black metal armor over his outfit in the dungeon, because that would be his first real, armor or his suit for the dungeon. It just being, color palette changed. Now, basically, what would happen is Bell would have gone into the dungeon lots of times, gain up points, and actually them gain a lot more money in the dungeon since Deku's already previous training, plus some of his skills he got from the, pretty much, what was it, Goddess. And basically, him having a lot more training from, the Rich Hagul, Familia, and a bunch of other stuff. Now, basically, what happened is doing after that, they would have, pretty much been able to tweak up the place or the abandoned church they were living in, basically being able to repurpose that church and make it actually a lot more, I guess, fresh and cleaner inside. Basically making it look brand new, but inside the building, not on the outside. Basically keeping it, the whole entire dingy look outside, but having it all nice and, well, diny inside. And basically what happened doing this, we said that Bell would have made himself. So basically doing this, we see that Bell would have gone to pretty much, well, what was it, level to level, him getting higher than his original level, like in canon, him being in the I think the 7th level, or the level that he would be in doing, I think, episode 4 or episode 3 of the anime. Now basically, what would happen is pretty much Bell, he wouldn't be able to get too far because of his, his lack of gear. Now basically, doing this, eventually Bell would have still ran into Lady Valentine's the day before he was going to go to the next level, basically him running into her. Now basically Bell, since he would have a lot more training, he would have been able to keep his emotions in check. Him gaining some sort of feelings towards Lady Valentine's, but him still having feelings for pretty much the goddess, like he was in canon. And basically, what happened is pretty much Bell would have trained a lot more harder after seeing Lady Valentine's with the sword. Basically, him seeing that she just had a tad bit more training with swords other than him, but he would be a lot more trained in hand-to-hand combat, stealth, and a bunch of other stuff. Basically, what would happen doing this, pretty much Bell would have left, would have left the dungeon, him talking to the lady at the pretty much Heroes Den, or I guess the bank, I guess, pretty much, or the Heroes Guild. Basically him going there and talking to the lady, as he would ask for, a little bit of help for this. Basically what happened is pretty much, well, Bell would have been kind of teased, but he would have just brushed it off, him saying nothing of the sort. Him being able to cover up his emotions, that's what he learned in the League of Shadows. Basically her believing him. And basically, as she would go on about Lady Valentine's, about how she was kind of the sword princess, basically Bell would have, put this into fruition. And basically, Bell wanted to succeed her, basically trying to enhance his skills he got from League of Shadows without learning from them. And basically what happened is pretty much Bell would have pretty much gone to the next level, him training his butt off, him killing a lot more Minotaurs like in canon. Eventually Bell would have, well, gone to the bar after Lady Valentine's, and basically as Bell will be saved by Lady Valentine's, he would be walking back to the guild instead of running back to the guild with blood on him. Him basically saying thanks to Lady Valentine's and running off, basically him covering up his emotions, trying to act a lot more cool, because that's what Batman does. He covers up his emotions, or half the time he does. And basically, what happened is pretty much Belle would have would have been in the bar. And basically, pretty much Lady Valentine's not really mentioning the whole entire fact that Belle ran off without saying anything, or I mean, not mentioning the fact that Belle said something before he ran off, and basically other villagers would have been overreacting this point. Basically, people still thinking Belle ran off like a little wussy after pretty much Lady Valentine's would have saved him. Basically, what happened is Belle would have pretty much just been, brushing this off. And basically, what happened is pretty much the wolf guy would have started to talk trash about Belle. Basically, Belle eventually getting upset about this, and him not actually running away and covering up his emotions and trying to keep him down. He would have actually got up and said, "So you're talking trash. How about you do something about it?" And basically, he would start to talk trash about the wolf guy, him pretty much making some racist comments on, well, demi-humans. Basically, pretty much the wolf guy getting pissed and basically running towards Belle and saying, "What did you say?" And pretty much Deku would have said, Belle would have said, "It was all fun and jokes just to antagonize you. But now since you're all up in my face, perfect time to do this." And as Belle would kick the wolf guy right in the nards, grab him by the ears, and chuck him down in the ground, he would start to pretty much beat the guy senseless. Pretty much most people in the bar trying to stop Belle, but Belle would have started to take them out as well as quick as possible. Some of the people in the Loki Familia being kind of impressed by Deku's skill of fighting. Now basically, Loki being kind of confused on how SEO was able to train Belle like this. But basically, one of the people in the bar would have noticed that this was the work of Ra's al Ghul, and that Belle, somebody on his, was probably on his Familia at one point, or was trained by him. And basically what happened is Belle would have, fought against the wolf guy and a couple other members, or a couple other people in other Familias that were in the bar. Him basically beating all of them up pretty quickly, kind of like, well, Batman would in the Arkham games. Basically, Belle would have left, taking his, or pretty much paying for the food and taking pretty much a couple other people's gears. Him saying that this is mine now. Him pretty much looting them. As he would run off, you see that Belle, as he would walk out the bar, you see that Belle would have walked out the bar, but would have gone to the dungeon. Him trying to get, the rest of his anger out. Basically, him taking out a lot of, different things and a lot more different, crystals and demons. Now, basically, as he would come back to pretty much the place, or pretty much the house where Lady Estia was waiting, pretty much what happened is that Lady Estia would start to train a lot more with Belle. Basically, her trying to, enhance Belle's, training or fighting tactics. As it would happen, we see that pretty much Belle would have focused a lot of his time and effort into pretty much, well, being the best he could. Basically, what happened is Belle would have eventually gone to pretty much, I guess, what was it? Belle would have eventually gone to the other level, going down more into the dungeon, and eventually he would have, eventually would have been, got to the point where he would have to get some new gear. Basically, him learning that from, the lady from the Adventurers Guild. As the lady from the Adventurers Guild would have told Belle to get more gear, Belle would have been able to have a lot more money on his side, since he would gain a lot more money in the dungeon. He would have still gone into a little bit of, I guess, the date or the roam around they had, going to different places to get more gear for Belle. And Belle would have been looking around, looking for some more, well, gear. Eventually, him coming across his original cannon armor he had in canon, but his cannon armor being changed a little bit differently, it being a different, well, aesthetic. Pretty much his armor would be, well, I guess exactly like the Dark Knight, or pretty much Dark Knights of Steel, pretty much Batman's suit. Now, basically, the Batman suit would have been similar to the same in this canon. Basically, it being, well, exactly the same, but it being a lot more of a brighter silver, and also it having red lines throughout these pretty much creases of the outfit. Basically, it being made by the same person, as by the same, pretty much, well, the same, I guess, you could put it in a way, the exact same type of forger or welder that will be made out of, just like in canon. Basically, this same person. Eventually, Bell would come across him, and pretty much how it happened. Basically, Bell would have bought this armor, him feeling drawn to it, and him also really liking the bat symbol on it, on the collar of the suit. And basically, what happened is Bell would have purchased this, and he basically would have made himself, kind of a, I guess, vigilante. I guess a similar vigilante. Basically, as this would happen, Bell would have bought his new armor. Basically, him barely really using the helmet part of the armor, it being made out of a type of, I guess, elastic type of mesh. So it would be basically, it would lie onto pretty much Bell's cape, kind of like how Flash's mask would lie on the back of his neck when he takes it off, since it would be a part of the suit. Basically, what happened is well, pretty much Bell would have pretty much gotten ready and basically would have gone to the dungeon again with his new armor, including the gift he got from the person at the guild. Basically, it not being made out of the green metal, but it being made out of a type of, red metal. Basically, him putting it on pretty much, his wrist gauntlets. Basically, it being able to slide right underneath on his, spikes on his gauntlet area of the armor. Basically, what happened, and you also have the same pouches. The pouches could carry, potions, shurikens, and then also the armor surprisingly would come with a lot of gadgets, weapons, and swords with the armor. It going for a low price as well, mainly because of the whole entire, thing it was going on and why it was so cheap. And basically, pretty much, the armor would have been very much, reliable. Plus, it would have a lot of gadgets in the pretty much pouches of the armor, basically having shurikens, type of makeshift smoke bombs that Bell would have made, because it would have cans or empty shells that you could put smoke bomb materials in. But Bell would have been able to be smart enough, and he would be trained by the League of Shadows, so they had, ninja methods to pretty much make stuff like that. So you basically would have made himself, makeshift ninja type smoke bombs, basically giving that him having smoke bombs, shurikens, and also him having a type of makeshift, I guess a grappling hook. Was a grappling hook, a rope, as well. Him being able to put it in the back of the. It would be a huge pouch, or not a huge pouch, but it would be like a, I guess, like computer bag type pouch in the back of his outfit behind his cape. Basically, it being able to carry his, pretty much grappling hook rope. Basically, it being able to carry that as well. Him having a lot of makeshift type of ninja type Batman, weapons, gear, and gadgets. Now, basically, he wouldn't have all the high-tech gear or gadgets that pretty much, Batman would have, but enough to make in medieval times with this, time frame with the materials he had on hand. Now, basically, as Bell would have gone into the dungeon, he would eventually come across, or he would eventually be, come across a, would come across a, what was it? Sorry, these cards are making me not focus. Basically what happened is pretty much Bell. Basically what happened is pretty much Bell would have gone to the dungeon after he would have came across the same animal girl he would have saved. Pretty much him being able to save the animal girl from the guy that was attacking her earlier, later on in the anime. Basically him being able to pretty much, knock out the guy in one foul swoop in the neck, or pretty much punching him in the throat, knocking him out cold. Basically him being able to take out that person. And what happened is pretty much Bell would have, gone into the dungeon with this, supporter girl. And basically, as he would go into the dungeon with her, she would grab all the shards and empty, or like, I guess, was it monster stones that he would leave behind after he would take out more of the, pretty much, monsters. Basically, doing this. I did forget to go over the huge fighting scene that Bell had when he went against the gorilla animal, and I'm gonna be doing a flashback of that. Then we go back in that story, and we see that Bell Bell would have basically, well, handled the gorilla animal, well, exactly the same actually. With pretty much his skill, he would have been able to capture the he would have been able to capture or take out the animal just like in canon, him being able to take it out a lot more quicker and efficiently, and basically being able to take it out quicker. Now, as Bell would still have the dagger he got from Lady Estia, pretty much Bell would have gone to, we could switch back to current time where we see Bell pretty much, just one shot a lot of monsters in the cave, and that out pretty much, well, the Animal Lady would have tried to steal the stuff from Bell, the dagger from Bell, but pretty much he would have been a lot more quicker, and since he would be trained by ninjas, it would be pretty hard to sneak something away from Bell. Bell would have grabbed her hand, telling her to stop it, and he pushed her back. Not pushed her, but pretty much just threw her hand away. As this would happen, she would be saying, "You're not mad at me?" Him saying, "I'm not the type of person you are. I've seen people like you before, and I know that you're going through hard things. But people can help you. You know that, right?" And basically, he would have pretty much, well, they would have gotten out of the dungeon, and he would have gave her 50-50, him taking the other half, and him giving her the other half. Him basically grabbing the money and saying to see you tomorrow. Basically, well, seeing her off with a kind of a goodbye type handshake, or I guess hug. Basically, him going back to Goddess's house, or back to his house, and basically him greeting Lady Estia. As it would happen, pretty much, I'm gonna leave it off here, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you guys like and subscribe. Part 2 will be about mainly Bell and Estia's relationship, plus a bunch of other things. Part 3 will be a little bit more better put together, since I was freestyling this. But basically, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. You guys like and subscribe, and as always, guys, have a blessed day.